Welcome to Coach My Wellness, a weekly show dedicated to bringing you information about healthy habits and behaviors just for the health of it. Here's your hosts, Joanne and Tammy.
Welcome to Just for the Health of It on 360 Talk Radio for Women, presented by Coach My Wellness, Joanne Orshan and Tammy St. Clair. Thank you for joining us here today, talking about your health. In our previous episode, we talked about peak performance and maintaining a life in our early lives that gives us peak performance throughout our lifespan versus our health span. And now we're going to talk about the big picture and small steps on how to get there and how change happens.
I always say that there is this blueprint for change that we have, and realizing that as frightening as change can be for many people, that change is really good. It means that we're growing, that we're moving forward. And it's change that allows us to reach new heights in life and to overcome negative behavior. And there's a process to changing your lifestyle, which you can do with ease. And one of the strategies that we have both studied extensively, and I think is the key here, it's called this shift, which is the change theory. And that was put forth by James Prochaska, who is a psychologist and a professor, and also an author of the book Changing for Good. And his theory is truly a blueprint for lifestyle change. There are 6 steps to change. So let's go through them.
So the first one is what he calls the pre-contemplation stage. And you know, and I know everybody who's in this stage. So maybe they're a person that needs to lose weight, or they're a person that's struggling with an addiction. But to them, I don't have anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with me. I can go on a diet whenever I want to. I can stop drinking whenever I want to. I can stop using drugs whenever I want to. I have no intention of changing at all.
And in that stage, most people are really uninformed about the consequences of their behaviors. And yet, they need to change in order to have the healthier lifestyle that they seek. Sometimes you might not realize that it's not a good idea to eat fatty, salty, refined junk food on a regular basis. And maybe you don't think about consuming a balanced diet, or that you have absolutely no idea that people need to intentionally exercise. I love that one. We are a species that need to have movement in our lives. And there can be family members, coworkers, friends that might see you as somebody who can be unmotivated or very resistant to wanting to make change. And at that stage, you really need to get some basic information about how your actions are affecting you. And this is the place that you really have to work at in order to get your head out of the sand.
Okay, so now maybe I've gotten some information and my head's coming out of the sand. The next stage in Prochaska's stages of change is contemplation. So I'm aware that there's a problem. I have no commitment yet to take any action on it. But yeah, I probably do need to lose some weight. Yeah, I probably should stop drinking or using drugs. Whatever your thing is, or I probably should start moving, start doing some sort of exercise. So I'm thinking about it. And then what?
But a lot of what you've just said are the shoulds. So let's get away from should, because that's very shaming, and it sets you up for not being able to accomplish what your goals are. Thinking about contemplation at that stage, you are aware deep down inside that you need to change the way that you're fueling your body, the movement that you have. But maybe you are so unsure of how to get started. There is so much out in the marketplace on a weekly basis that is a new diet, a new fad, a new whatever. And many people are very stressed because they're not sure what's going to work. And remember, as we talk about all the time, what works for you might not work for me, and vice versa. Perhaps you're someone that beat yourself up for the mistakes that you made, and you just cannot understand what's blocking you. So the best strategy to figure it out is to come up with ways to overcome those obstacles. Think about, for example, the payoffs you might get by overeating and being over fat, and what life would be like without those crutches. That's a very frightening thing to someone, to make changes like that, because we're not really sure of what the outcomes are going to show. Perhaps your benefit by monitoring the actual intake to see what it is that triggers you. Or maybe you're sitting down with your coach and you're coming up with a list of reasons as far as why you want to change. That's part of what we do as coaches, to really work with our clients or work with you to help you to figure out what it is that you want to change, and doing what it takes to get you into that mindset that can really propel you into the next phase.
So that next phase is the preparation. And that stage is like, And I always, when I'm working with my clients or with my groups, I always liken this stages of change to a baby learning how to become a toddler, learning how to walk. So up in pre-contemplation, they have no idea that that's something that they'll be able to do. And then they start getting more movement, they grow, they mature, they're getting older, and now they start crawling and they're like, oh, I could actually move. But here's the thing. No one ever gets up and starts to walk and just gets there.
Absolutely. And I know that in this phase, when I've talked to people out there, it's so interesting that we can define specific changes that someone may want to address as one of the issues that they have as far as moving forward. And I love this. Maybe you've decided that you want to go to the gym because you know that, movement is so important in your life. So what do? You might go out and check out a couple of gyms, take some tours, think about looking at your calendar, deciding what days and times you're going to work out, or maybe you're going to be working out at home because you're not ready to go back to a gym facility yet. Maybe you're talking to family or friends or coworkers to gather a network together to help to support you through your journey. And at that stage, it's really critical to set specific time-sensitive goals to know what you'll be doing when. Maybe you even draw up a contract with yourself. When we work with our clients, we do set up what's coming next, which is an action plan. And all of these things are wonderful, but if you're figuring out the days and times that you want to exercise, and maybe even buying those gym clothes and getting ready to get out there, if you don't make it to the gym, you still haven't taken any action to move forward in your plan.
And that's the next stage, is taking that action and doing the things that you set out to do. So a lot of people I work with, they're bariatric clients. So that action stage starts with finding a surgeon, making the appointment. So, finding the surgeon and thinking about surgery is all that preparation, but making the appointment, showing up at the appointment, doing all of those things in taking action, moving towards the goal that you have. And I think so many times we don't really take those actions. It's like the baby standing there between the couch and the coffee table and still doing that wobbly thing where they're kind of like, oh, maybe I can take a step forward. And then they decide, I'm going for it, man. I'm going to get over there. And they just launch and everyone is so excited. Oh, baby took their first steps. Oh, baby took their first steps. And that's the thing. And we're so like that. And we don't want to think so. A lot of, especially when we're trying to change, it really starts out in these very small baby steps where it makes change more comfortable, because change is uncomfortable. The nature of change is being uncomfortable. And you're either going to be uncomfortable staying the same, or you're going to be uncomfortable changing, but it's uncomfortable.
When I speak with new clients specifically, one of the things that we do address and talk about is exactly this. Because you're so uncomfortable and you're not happy with yourself, or you talk negative self-talk all the time, when you think about things, that when you start to open yourself up to other people with the best of intentions, sometimes people will sabotage your efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that what has worked so much for so many of my clients is holding back on sharing all of this until you are truly set on your action plan and are getting ready to really work on the plan and feel really good about getting started. How many times have you said to somebody, because of course everyone has this diet mentality, which is not what we do. We really focus on lifestyle living, not dieting. It's really all the integrative health pieces pulling together in this continuum of change. So when we talk about something specific, if you were to say to a friend or a family member or a coworker, oh, I can't eat this because I'm doing this diet, or I'm doing this plan, or I'm doing something, right away, how many times does someone say, another one? You're doing that
Right.
again? And that just reinforces that feeling sometimes, oh, I've failed before I've even started.
Right.
So how do we get our feet on the ground? And our goal as coaches is to work with you to help you to feel better about the choices, get you moving in a direction which is toward your goals and helping to change whatever those are. And again, it could be releasing weight. It could be moving more. It could be preventative. It could be healing. It can be so many different things. So how we pull that all together for our clients and go through each piece one at a time so that we can take an action step in order to move forward. And there's a lot of ways that we can do that. We'll talk about goals in a few minutes, but let's just finish going through what the next step of change is after we have our action plan, because once you've practiced and maybe even practice some more, you can schedule a reward for yourself for staying at it. And maybe that's the time where it's safe to tell others about what you're up to because you're feeling very confident in your own skin about the choices that you're making.
And everyone always asks, well, how long does that last? The action phase of change lasts as long as it lasts. Until you reach the goal that you had set for yourself, you are in that action phase. That's however long it takes. And then we move on to maintenance. And that's learning how to sustain the new changed behavior. And so clients, when they've had surgery and they've lost weight, they might have a year of really actively losing, and then they move into this stage after surgery of, now I have to hold on to this. I have to hold on to this weight loss. And they begin to struggle because they think, oh, well, I lost all this weight with my surgery. Now I can go back to old behaviors. I can let those things back into my cabinets. I can not abstain from them all as stringently as I used to. So I tell my clients, in order to stay where you're at, to maintain, you have to keep doing what you started to do in order to get there. Whatever you did to get there is what you have to keep doing to stay there.
So those clients that have not had bariatric surgery, that are just on a lifestyle of health and wellness and maybe want to lose weight, after a certain amount of time, and it's usually about 6 months or so, that when I work with clients, I know that I work a lot with people in 6-month groups because that really is what's been shown to help to make change, where doubts get diminished and you are achieving results that you were looking for. Part of the positive effect on that is documenting the process and evaluating how far you have come and focusing on the positive statements about how you've changed. So whether that's through journaling, or that's through the accountability piece to yourself as well as to your health coach, this helps to identify with you better habits. And also, I find that once we get into this health mindset, that we tend to associate with people who also incorporate those new habits in their lives. It's a lot easier when we go to functions and we know someone lives a healthy lifestyle than somebody who doesn't. With the holidays coming up right now, I have clients that talk about, oh, well, I have this barbecue to go to, or this graduation, or this particular event, but, oh, I'm not worried because my cousin Sally, who is having this barbecue this weekend, she's a really healthy eater, so I'll know that there'll be good choices. Once you get to that place of making decisions for yourself and knowing the path that you're on, that whether or not somebody is going to provide what you know that you need for yourself, there are ways that we have coached you to help you to make better choices and decisions for yourself, where you can sail through any event that you go through seamlessly. And if we get into that mindset, very specifically in maintenance, that 80-20 lifestyle, or even the 90-10 lifestyle, meaning that 80% of the time, I am really on focus and I am really on key and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I know that this is helping me to reach my goals. That if you go to the barbecue and you decide that you want to have that piece of cake that's sitting out there that looks delicious, eat it and enjoy it. There's so much about the mentality and emotional eating that when we take the guilt and the stress out of making choices for foods that might not be on our health plan, that if we enjoy the process, number one, we're not eating as much, we're getting satisfied. It's a really great feeling to know that you can balance that 80-20 lifestyle and then just move on and get back to having the tools in your pocket to know exactly what it is that you need to do in order to achieve your optimal health and wellness.
Right. But so many times when people have that cupcake at the barbecue, they immediately think, oh, that's it. I failed. All this work that I've been doing, it's going out the window. And so then that old mindset tries to come back and starts to relapse into the old behavior patterns because that's all that they see. And so all the work we've done, it helps us when throughout the process, like you said, they've been documenting, they've been journaling, because they can go back and see what helped them to get where they're at. It's like when you fall down, it's not the falling down that's the issue. It's whether you get back up or not.
Well, I call it the roller coaster effect. And for all of you out there, just remember that regardless of where you start along this continuum of change, you can expect to go backwards from time to time. That's just part of the process. Starting, regressing, and then moving forward is just a piece of the puzzle in that roller coaster to help you on this journey called life. The goal would be to try to learn something new every time that you relapse and evaluate where you're at.
And that's the thing. We can never unlearn what we've already learned. So I tell my clients that this is a spiral that works up. So yeah, we might slide back down a little ways, but we're never going back to the very bottom where we don't know that there's a problem. And we can't unlearn any of the great things that we learned along the way. Going back to the toddler example, once they've taken those first few steps and they've done that a few times and they fall down, they quickly will get themselves back up and keep going in order to get to whatever they were after initially. And I think once we're older, we forget how change happens. We forget how things move forward. We always think, I screwed this up and therefore it's all out the window. And it's just get back up and keep moving forward. Get back up and keep moving forward and learn something, like you said. that I can now apply the next time. So what can I learn from this barbecue to apply to the next barbecue when I go? And how do I prepare for that? So it's an upward spiral to success until it becomes just the way you are. It moves from what I do to who I am. That's when you know that that change has settled in.
So in review, let's just go through this because I know we said so much about all of this, but there's the first phase, which is pre-contemplation, which is no intention on changing behavior. And that's where people are very resistant. And when we take on new coaching clients, one of the things that we assess when we speak with people during a health history or a discovery call is, are you truly ready for change? That's one piece of it. Mm-hmm. So how can we help you reach your goals? If someone is not ready for change, it can be very challenging. We can't make somebody want to be ready to change. That's something that is that bio-individuality where it needs to come from within. Then, of course, contemplation, being aware that you have a problem exists, but again, no commitment to take action. And that could be, well, I know that I really have to lose weight, but I'm going to wait until after the summer because I have 2 vacations planned, so I'm going to wait until the fall. Or I made a commitment to start a program for optimal living, and I'm starting Monday, so this weekend I'm going to try and eat everything that I possibly can get in that's in the cabinet before I have to throw it away, as though there's going to be deprivation. And remember, not to backtrack, but that 80-20 rule, you will be able to sail through life and have the things that you want within reason, which is in alignment with what your goals are. And of course, then preparation, which is that intent on taking action in order to address your problem, which, Tammy, leads to what?
Action, taking those steps and moving yourself forward and just continuing to move forward, those little tiny baby steps until you eventually get to maintenance and are able to sustain this new behavior. And it becomes who you are. So the old behavior used to be who you were, and now the new behavior has now become who you are.
So in thinking about what we've talked about, what are the benefits that we have from making lifestyle change? If it's physical well-being, maybe you're thinking about you might live longer, or your heart could be healthier, or your brain could be healthier. Maybe you're thinking about blood pressure might be lower, or you'll be able to control your allergies better. Maybe you're somebody who is looking to reduce your risk of lung cancer, or stomach cancer, or bladder cancer, or a stroke, diabetes, emphysema. There are so many things. And what's the appeal factor of well-being? Well, it could be, I'm going to live longer.
Well, I think some people, they only change once they're faced with some of those things. Their impetus to change is now when they're facing that disease. And you're right, it is unfortunate because they often say, oh, well, I've been eating this way or living this way for years and nothing bad has happened. Mm-hmm. You should add the word yet to that. Nothing bad has happened.
Yes, that's great. That's great. That's great. And I look at things as so much as the emotional well-being part, meaning that all of these different modalities will help to optimal health. So we could talk about your body being less stressed, or maybe you can work toward reducing your risk of depression, or that maybe you'll just be more relaxed. And, there are a lot of things that you can do. What are some of the benefits that will help you in your health and wellness? It's not just about being thin. Truly, there are a lot of thin people that are not healthy. How many times have you heard clients say to you, if I lose 20 pounds, 10 pounds, 100 pounds, I'll just be so happy? And what is your, I know what my response is.
be happy now.
Well, there are a lot of thin people who aren't so happy.
Correct. Right. Stop putting off your life and how you deal with things until after. Well, once my kids grow up, once I lose this 20 pounds, 30 pounds, then I'll be happy. And a lot of the times, in the last segment, we talked about the emotional wellness, and it's learning to be happy and satisfied in the circumstance that we're in. Because if you can't be happy in the circumstance that you're in, and, within reason, not talking about, I was just diagnosed with some life-threatening disease, but in general, being happy where I'm at, then even if I get to the other place, so even if I do lose 100 pounds or 20 pounds or 15 pounds, I'm still not going to be happy.
Well, changing unhealthy behaviors, it's definitely easier said than done. And if you're like most of us, you've already made those repeated attempts to change your lifestyle, improve your well-being without lasting success.
Right.
I remember I asked people, how many diets have you been on? 1, 2, 5, 10, more? I used to call myself a professional dieter. And what's really hard about that is that if you're like most of us, you've already made those repeated attempts to change your lifestyle and improve your well-being without that lasting success. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here to try and pick up the pieces again. And you might attribute those failures to things like lack of motivation or the wrong genes. But more than likely, it's simply that you just don't know how to change, how to unravel the pieces of the puzzle, which is why your health coach, Coach My Wellness, Joanne Orshan, and Tammy St. Clair can help you to identify what your challenges are and the best way to help you figure out how to improve your health and your wellness. So we have so many things that are up and coming for you. We invite you to join us on Instagram at CoachMyWellness_CMW. Starting in July of this year, we are going to be having Thursday night talk on self-care and everything related to coaching and health in general. Every Sunday morning on 360 Talk Radio, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we have our radio show on Self-Care Sundays just for the health of it. So please tune in and join us, as well as our website at CoachMyWellness.com. Please subscribe to the site. We'd be happy to talk with you at any time to see if our services and coaching might be beneficial to you. And we just love being here and promoting everything health and wellness.
We look forward to working with you and talking with you and helping to guide you through whatever changes you're contemplating making.
So, just for the health of it, I'm Joanne Orshan.
And I'm Tammy St. Clair.
And we will see you next Sunday.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Coach My Wellness. For more information about healthy habits and behaviors, visit our website at CoachMyWellness.com and follow us on Instagram at CoachMyWellness_CMW for weekly live streams Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. We hope to see you there.